Russian forces closing in on Ukrainian troops in Kursk. In the days since the Trump administration temporarily suspended military and intelligence assistance to Kyiv, Russian forces have stepped up attacks on Ukrainian troops in the region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said his troops are still holding off Russian and North Korean forces in Russia's Kursk region after a U.S. military official said Russian forces could retake Kursk very soon. Russia battled on Sunday to drive the last Ukrainian soldiers from western Russia, Russian officials said, after a 7-month incursion by Ukraine that aimed to distract Moscow's forces, gain a bargaining chip, and rile President Vladimir Putin. In one of the most striking battles of the 3-year-old Ukraine war, Ukrainian forces smashed their way across Russia's western border in Kursk last August, marking the biggest attack on sovereign Russian territory since the Nazi invasion of 1941. But a lightning offensive this month has reduced the area under Ukrainian control to about 110 square kilometers, down from the more than 1,268 square kil claimed by Kyiv last year, according to open-source maps. Yuri Podolyaka, one of the most influential pro-Russian military bloggers, said Russia had pushed back Ukrainian forces to the border in some areas, though intense battles were underway, and that Ukrainian forces were fighting back as they retreated. Battlefield maps from both Ukraine and Russia showed 2 joined pockets of Ukrainian forces on the Russian side of the border, in Kursk. Russia said it was clearing large numbers of mines in the area. Putin's hesitant response to a US-brokered proposed ceasefire in Ukraine has coincided with a push by his country's forces to roll back Ukrainian troops in Russia's Kursk region. Ukrainian troops seized the area inside Russia, just over Ukraine's eastern border, last year in an audacious move that embarrassed Moscow. But losing control of the Kursk region would be a blow for Kyiv, as the Ukrainian government has viewed the territory as valuable leverage in any future peace talks. President Donald Trump said Friday on Truth Social that thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded and that he had asked Putin not to attack them. Over the past 11 days, Russian forces stepped up ground and air attacks on the Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region from multiple directions. The intensified offensive was launched after the Trump administration temporarily suspended military and intelligence assistance to Kyiv on March 3rd, which a European official and analysts say was likely not a coincidence. The U.S. assistance was restored on Wednesday. After the Trump administration said it was satisfied, Ukraine's government was ready to negotiate a ceasefire with Russia. After hammering Ukrainian troops for days around Sudzha, Russian forces have taken back the town in the Kursk region, Russian officials said on Thursday. If current trends continue, Russian forces could soon recapture the entire area that Ukrainian troops had occupied since August, according to Angelica Evans, a Russia analyst with the Institute for the Study of War, a Washington-based research group. Russia had steadily built up a large force around Kursk since Ukrainians seized the area in August, with an estimated 78,000 Russian and North Korean troops on the ground. Over 2 days, Russia dropped several 3-ton Fab 3000 bombs against Ukrainian targets in Kursk that it rarely employs on the front line, according to Evans. The Russians use guidance kits to convert large free-fall bombs into guided glide bombs that can be launched from outside the range of most of Ukraine's air defense systems. Reports of the alleged encirclement of Ukrainian units by the enemy in the Kursk region are false and fabricated by the Russians for political manipulation and to exert pressure on Ukraine and its partners, Ukraine's general staff said in a statement Friday. Ukraine's incursion into Russia in August marked the first time a foreign army had occupied Russian land since World War II. As Ukrainian troops came under pressure in Kursk, President Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, met Putin in Moscow on Thursday to try to advance a proposed ceasefire agreement in Ukraine. Before meeting Witkoff, Putin said that although in theory he accepted the ceasefire on the table, he said many nuances had to be worked out, including the fate of Ukrainian troops in Kursk. Putin appeared to be trying to complicate the negotiations to buy time for Russian forces as they advance in Kursk. Russia has paid a heavy price for the invasion. U.S. intelligence estimates say more than 100,000 Russian troops have been killed or injured, according to a 23 assessment, while the economy has been heavily distorted by record defense spending and the toughest Western sanctions ever imposed.
Да!